What's going on, everyone? I want to talk about property prices. If you've been listening to the news or radio over the last couple of days, weeks, I've heard a lot about people aged 18 to 40 being called generation rent. Now, I'm sure quite a lot of you have had conversations with people in older generations, possibly even retired, saying, when I was your age, I already had a property. And it's a lot more difficult now, and I don't think a lot of the older generations realise how difficult it actually is to get on a property ladder compared to a good few years ago. So as I said, people aged 18 to 40 are being called generation rent. Now, if we go through and compare the median salary to the average house price within various different areas, you'll see why this generation is being called generation rent. And I don't think it's anything that should be taken personally, because I think it's a situation which is far out of our control. So in Liverpool, property prices are 6 times the median salary. Now if we go to London, property prices are 15 times the median salary, which is just absolutely ridiculous. If we want to then have a little look at the difference between the north and south, in the north it's 6.72 times the median salary in order to buy a property, versus in the south, which is 12.34 times the median salary. So as you can see, this is before you get taxed, NI taken from your wage. It's also before you pay for your car, your fuel, your food bills, everything. So if you actually took into account how much you actually need to spend before you purchase a property, you'd need many multiples of your actual disposable income before you bought a property in order to pay off the property. If you've ever spoke to your grandparents or your mum or your dad, you might have noticed that they might have been on a property ladder a lot sooner than what you are, and that's because if we have a look here, so back in 2000s, if we take the UK as a whole, the average property price was only 3 times the median salary, whereas back in 2019, so nearly 20 years later, the average property price was over 8 times the median salary. So that shows that house prices are going up a lot quicker and a lot steeper of a curve compared to salaries. And that's just why people nowadays just can't keep up, and they're having to rent because they want their own place, but they can't get on the property ladder because it's just too big of an expense. So what are the government actually doing to help this situation? So there's a few initiatives that will help, but I don't think it's going to be a complete cure for it. So first of all, you've got the Help to Buy ISA, which is good in terms of you get a 25% bonus on top of all the money that you put into this account when purchasing a property. The downside to it is that you can only save £200 every single month into this account. Now, if you're wanting to get a property soon, then it's not probably going to be that beneficial because you won't be able to obtain that large of a deposit within the account in order to get a good enough bonus. The next one, you've got a 5% deposit scheme. Now, I think this just shifts the burden from an upfront cost to a monthly expense, because you're going to be charged more in interest every single month. So yeah, you might be able to get into the property sooner, but you will be paying more in interest because you've got a higher loan to value from the bank. The next one is shared ownership. Now, shared ownership is where you can own 25, 50 or 75% of the property, and a third party owns the other percentage. So this is a good initiative, but it shouldn't be a case of that you can you only have to own 25%, 50% or 75% of a property. The issue is that the property price is too high and you can only own a fraction of it. And you've also got the Right to Buy scheme. So this isn't sort of a direction that you go through if you were looking to buy a property anytime soon. This Right to Buy scheme is really good for people who are currently living in council houses. The financial circumstances change and they're able to buy the property. They can buy the property at a large discount because they've been renting from the council for so many years. but when I always look into it, the bonus that you get never outweighs the total amount that you've already paid in rent. So it is a good initiative, but it's not as great as, you know, if you want to just go out and buy a property, that would be the best option for your cash. Quite a lot of people see renting as you know, a negative thing, but I think that there's quite a lot of positives in renting. So first of all, it's a lot more flexible. So let's say if I was to get a job opportunity down in London, if I was renting, I could just give the landlord a month's notice or whatever was in my contract. Whereas if I bought the property, I'd have to sell it. I could take 3 to 6 months. Someone might pull out of the chain and it all might fall through. So when you're renting a property, it is a lot more flexible and you're able to, you know, jump from property to property a lot easier. As I've just been saying, house prices are going up a lot steeper than salaries. So if house prices were to come down, which I don't know how it would possibly happen, but if house prices were to actually come down, you wouldn't be in negative equity because you don't own the property, so it'd be the landlord's issue and not yours. The next thing is that you can move out a lot sooner because you don't need as large of a deposit. So if you needed a 10% deposit to buy a property, let's say the property value is 150,000, you needed a £15,000 deposit. You could go and rent a property for, you know, maybe a month up front. Let's just even say £1,000 deposit. So compare 15,000 to 1,000. It's a lot more accessible to get onto into a property via rent. It's a lot easier to budget as well. So there shouldn't be, when you're renting a property, there shouldn't be any large unexpected bills that are unforeseen, because, you know, the landlord should take care of the building. If there's any, you know, large cracks in the wall, I don't know, but the landlord should cover that. It shouldn't be your expense, and therefore all you have to do is just keep paying your rent, and it's a lot more easier to manage your cash that way. And the next one is lower insurance costs. So you're not liable for the building, as I've just said, so you don't need to pay any building insurance or anything like that. So there's a few benefits to renting, but it's just that it's the way forward for a lot of people, because it's just so hard to get onto the property ladder nowadays, because salaries just aren't going up as quick as property prices. But if you've got a different opinion, let me know. Drop it down below in the comments. Let's get involved in a conversation. If you like the content that I'm producing, drop a like down below. And, you know, if you're not subscribed to the channel, just please consider it. But yeah, see you in a bit.